In this video, we take a look at how MAXQDA supports teamwork and the exchange of data with the special teamwork functions. Let's start with some general information about data storage in MAXQDA. When we work with MAXQDA, all codes, memos, visualizations, and all other analysis components, as well as most data, are stored in a project file. Very large files, such as video or audio files, are saved by default in the Externals folder, which can be found in the Documents folder. The file size above which PDF and image documents are saved externally can be defined here in the Preferences. We can also adjust the location to which the external files are saved here. If we now want to share the entire project file or individual parts of a project, for example to make them available to our colleagues, we have three options. We can drag the project file and the associated externally stored data, such as videos and audio files, from one computer to another, for example by sending the data by email or sharing it via a network drive or a cloud service. It is important to note that although project files can be shared this way, they should not be opened from an external storage location, such as a network drive, a cloud, or a USB stick. It is best to copy the project file and the associated data directly to the desktop or the Documents folder of the target computer. You can also find out more about external file storage in our FAQs, which we have linked in the description. We also have the option of sending individual components of our project to our team members. For example, a single document with associated memos, variables, or coding. Alternatively, we can also send just our code system as a single element. We can also merge two different project files into a single project file with just a few clicks. We will now take a closer look at these three options. Let's assume we want to transfer our entire project, i.e. all memos, codes, coded segments, variables, and other components from one computer to another, for example to share the project with a team member. To do this, we can simply drag the project file onto a USB stick. As the project also contains videos and larger images, we also need to send the Externals folder. This is easily done by clicking on the External Files button and selecting the Bundle External Files option. We then also save this zip file on our USB stick. Alternatively, we could also copy the entire components of the Externals folder and paste them into the folder of the same name on the target computer. On the target computer, we copy the project file and the zip file with the external files from the USB stick to a local folder. We can then link the external files back into our project file by clicking External Files and selecting Unpack Bundled Data Files. We then select the zip file from our external files, and the project and the external files are linked. We can now continue working with the project file as usual. A good practice is to regularly create copies of the shared project files when working in a team, so that you can jump back to previous editing steps if necessary. To do this, we can simply save a copy of our project file by clicking on Save Project As and adding our initials and the current date to the project file. With the second option, we do not share the entire project, but only individual components. This function is useful, for example, if a team member has added new files to his or her project that the other team members do not yet have. To share individual parts of our project file, we click on Teamwork in the Home menu and select Export Teamwork, Export Data to Exchange File. Here we can select which documents, document groups or sets we want to share. In this case, all interviews from Berlin. If we click on Next, we can select which codes we want to pass on in the next window. Here we can select individual codes or export all codes at the same time. Now we name the Exchange file and save it. We can now drag this Exchange file onto our USB stick or simply send it via email. On the target computer, we open the project into which we want to import the files, click on Teamwork again, and this time select the Import option. Now we select our previously created Exchange file, and the data bundle there is imported into our project. Here we can select which documents, codes, variables, summaries and memos are to be imported. If a document is already included in the target project, the codes inserted in the original project are automatically added back to the corresponding document. With the third option, we merge two different MAXQDA projects into a new project, so that all content from both projects is bundled into one project. To do this, we open one of the projects that we want to merge. We can now add another project to this open project by clicking on the Merge Projects button. Here, we can now select the other project with which we want to merge our already open project. MAXQDA will then proceed as follows. Certain elements can only occur once in a MAXQDA project. So in this dialog, we select which project memo, which code memos, and which logbook are to be retained or overwritten by import. If we do not change the default settings, the elements of the project that is already open are adopted. Documents and document groups with the same name are created twice by default. If we check the box "Don't import already existing documents," only the documents that do not already exist will be added to the project. We can also select here whether document groups and sets should be merged or not. When merging, all documents that do not already exist are added to the project. When the project files have been merged, MAXQDA creates a backup copy of the source project file from which we started the merge. In case of doubt, we can always come back to a copy of the project file before merging. The added project file remains unchanged. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more MAXQDA video tutorials. We wish you all the best for your project.